Roe v. Wade was a case from 1973 that established a woman's right to have an abortion without undue restrictive interference from the government. The court held that a woman's right to decide for herself to bring or not to bring a pregnancy to term is guaranteed under the 14th Amendment.
And on Friday, June 24th, that was overturned by the Supreme Court. Hey, everyone. Welcome to the call-up. This is our AT&T 5G virtual studios. I'm Susannah Collins, and that is Jillian Susannah. And it has been a rough 4 days and change for so many people in this country. And as we said, the overturning of Roe versus Wade has elicited a lot of emotions and feelings, and we just wanted to take a moment to address it. And I know that we both have a lot to say on this matter. So we're going to take this time right now just to put some things out in the ether. So Jill, go right ahead.
Thanks. I'm grateful that we have this platform, and I'm grateful for you, Susannah, and I'm grateful for our producer, Galena. I understand that a lot of people, including myself at times, have felt really lonely or isolated. I want to tell you that we are here for you. It's ironic to say that we feel lonely and isolated because people that can carry children make up 50% of the planet's population. Yet, Suze, I have had fans, sideline reporters, friends saying to me, I was crying alone on Friday. I want to tell you guys, you're not alone. And the biggest thing that I am so exhausted of saying is I am all for inclusivity and respecting people's opinions, but this is not opinion versus opinion. This is opinion versus rights. Opinion versus rights. For me, this has nothing to do with the topic of abortion. This has to do with 50% of the population being entitled to health, safety, civil, and reproductive rights. And I want to know why my rights are less important than respecting people's opinions. Why are my rights less important than making sure someone's opinion feels respected? Whether it is a medical reason, or it's somewhere in between, or it's a miscarriage, or it's someone who made a choice. Doesn't matter your age, doesn't matter your socioeconomic status, doesn't matter where you were at in life. I don't want to stigmatize anybody who has made a choice. And maybe it was an easy choice for you, but chances more than not is it was a really difficult choice for you that you never can erase from your memory. We're with you, we hear you, and we're with everybody who has been struggling. I'm sad to think that a country that I live in, I have to think about what state I'm going to. Or where's my sister going? Or Susannah, where are you going? For those that say keep sports out of it, I understand that on its face that this is, okay, we keep sports out of it. This is a male league. Many professional sports leagues consist of men. What about the wives and the partners of people being traded to certain clubs in certain cities that struggle with miscarriage or simply just want their rights in the state that they go to, or they want their daughters to have rights? If you agree with reproductive rights, to those who have spoken out, thank you. But like many people have said, and like I felt, it has felt so lonely. To people who are afraid, that anger and feeling disoriented is the best way I can say I feel right now. I'm horrified. I'm disoriented. I am dizzy over this. To people trying to not make themselves look unattractive and be angry because it makes you look less stable and less professional, I feel you. You bottle things up and it explodes, and it's hard, but it's okay if that's happened to you. So much is asked of us as people that can carry children. And I think I ask for very little in return. And that's for my civil right to not be called an opinion. I'm going to say that again. I don't want my rights that I was born with, that I had last week, to be called opinions. The rights that I and 50% of the population had are now tied to things like highway bills and voting. If you wouldn't want your rights that you had last week taken away, where are you? If not doing it for others and for the greater good, to everybody listening, I guarantee you that someone you love has had an abortion. So if not for others, I ask that you do it for them. And that's all I have to say for this very moment.
Well said, my friend, and thank you. Thank you for sharing all of that. I couldn't possibly agree more. This is an impossibly scary, sad time for so many people. And again, to our viewers and our listeners, we share in this heartbreak and this devastation. Like, when I think about the repercussions that this will have, it's terrifying. And they've made it clear that this is only the first domino to fall, right? Like, this we could just be scratching the surface here of the civil liberties that people are about to lose. And I think, Jill, we knew that this was coming, right? We had heard about the Supreme Court leak months ago, but then to actually see it transpire was one of the most jarring, horrific feelings I've ever experienced in my life. And to your point, Jill, this is not about opinions, okay? It's not. It is about having a choice. And in the same way that we respect the choice of religious freedom, I respect that. I respect that people are able to love whoever they want to love, right? Women, all of those people who identify as a woman, if you're non-binary, if you're trans, all of you deserve to have a choice and autonomy over your body. And Jill, I kept thinking about what Ruth Bader Ginsburg, the late Ruth Bader Ginsburg, said about abortion. And I can't put it more articulately or perfectly than she did. And she said, the decision whether or not to bear a child is central to a woman's life, to her well-being and dignity. It is a decision that she must make for herself. When government controls that decision for her, she is being treated as less than a fully adult human responsible for her own choices. And I guarantee you that every woman that has ever been confronted with that choice did not take it lightly, okay? This is a public health crisis. This is about reproductive rights. And you said it, Jill, you know somebody, whoever you are, you know somebody that has benefited from the ability to have a choice, okay? I think about the women who have had ectopic pregnancies, who have miscarried and then have to have the DNC, the victims of sexual assault who will be forced to carry a baby to term, the young women who just simply are not equipped or don't feel ready to be a mother. This goes beyond that. My brother is a physician. He could be prosecuted at some point because he prescribes contraceptives to somebody. Like, I fear for everyone. I fear for everyone because this does affect everyone. And we need everyone in the fight. We need the men too. We need you guys. We need your wives, your daughters, your nieces, your aunts, your mothers. We need all of you men to be allies to these people in your life. Okay? Because this is about everyone. This is about human rights, and we are all humans. And I just want to end by saying I am so grateful that we have this platform, Jill. I'm so grateful to share this space with you right now, and our incredible producer, Galina, who is sharing in all of these sentiments and have allowed us to to express how we are feeling and have given us this space right now. But I just want people to know, like you said, Jill, they're not alone. You know, we are also angry, and we are scared, and we are sad, and it is weighing so heavy on our hearts, and it didn't feel right coming on and doing a podcast and business as usual without addressing this today, because it is so forefront in our minds. But, you know, having said that, like, we are women. We're going to do what we have done for years. We're going to soldier on. We are going to fight like hell. And I'm so grateful to be here with you right now, Jill, because it has made me feel less alone, and it has made me feel comforted during this really, really awful time.
Thank you for sharing that. And I agree with you. I'm really lucky to have you. I think about all the voice memos I've sent you in the last 4 days, and to the people that do or don't have that, these DMs that I've gotten, and things from, high level, forward facing on air people that are crying because they feel alone, or just a fan on social media, like everybody. And I don't want to stigmatize anybody, and I just want everyone to feel safe.
Yeah. Amen.
Time now for our AT&T 5G call to the field. CBS reporter and Emmy Award winner Jenny Chiu. She's also the former captain for Mexico's U17 squad, played in 2 World Cups with the U17s and the U20s. What a day to be alive. Hi, Jenny Chiu.
That was a really good intro. Thank you. Hi, guys.
Only for you.
We pride ourselves on our intros.
We sure do. We're going to have a lot of fun with you, Jenny. You're someone we love and admire. We can't wait to dive into that with you. But Suzanne and I were just talking about, for some women, for some people, it's been a trying few days. Where are you at?
Whew. Frustrated. I think we all feel kind of like we're grieving at the moment. We saw it coming. At the same time, it still feels like it hit us like a bus.
Right.
And I feel really angry at people that aren't saying anything, mostly because this affects all of us. A big thought I've been having a ton is like the people that are say against having a choice, pro-choice, say that your wife, your significant other, your daughter has a medical complication while they're pregnant, and they cannot get an abortion. Like, how is that going to change your opinion then? Like, what a slap in the face that is for you then, to be like, oh, I didn't understand that it was more than just, getting an abortion because you didn't want a baby.
And that's
been
exactly
a big thought.
That's kind of what we've Jill and I have been having these conversations like over the weekend, the last 4 days. And it's just literally all morning. I know. But it's just, it's so much more than just about abortion. And I think, like, as we have started to hear like the very, very personal stories that people are sharing about their experiences, and sort of kind of seeing like the light bulb go off in some people's eyes, like, oh, hello, yeah, this is actually a public health issue. It's so much more than just about abortion. It's about having the autonomy and the choice to do what you want with your body, and to make choices that are good for you and healthy for you, that benefit your own health. And so it's been, thank you for saying that, because I think that the more that we talk about it, the more that we actually have these conversations, I do think that people are listening a little bit more carefully now. So I appreciate you sharing that.
I just think the last thing I want to say, like, the most important thing is that this is a socioeconomic issue as well. Like, this will not affect us that have the money to go to states. I can fly to California right now if I need one. That's a reality. But some people don't have that ability, and those are the people that do not have the money to raise a baby, do not have the mental capacity at the moment, to have a family, and all of these aspects that other people aren't thinking about. And the people that suffer are the children that are forced to come into this world when their caretakers are not ready.
It's hard to wrap our minds around something that one controls a person's body, right? It sounds like sounds like from a million years in the future or a million years in the past. And then it's also hard to, you look at the medical side of it. But then you also look at, you know what, like I don't want to alienate a 20 something year old, 30, 40, any age you are, that doesn't want to have a child. I don't want to alienate that person either. Like there are so many medical reasons. I don't want to alienate anybody. I want everybody to do what they want to do and what their faith and what their beliefs tell them to do. And I want that for myself, and I want that for everybody else as well. Jenny, let's dive into a little bit more with you. We have been so excited to have you on here. It feels like you are just now being able maybe to breathe. You tell me, after a whirlwind of a first half of 2022. It was so great to see you traveling on site, covering the U.S. men's national team throughout World Cup qualifiers, UEFA Champions League, amazing in Paris. What has the most pinch me moment been, and why?
It's like 6 months into the year right now. So that's when I do like a 6-year reflection on how the year has gone, and all those things you mentioned were as my like big accomplishments of the year. Probably, I think it's different. Being at another Champions League final was a surprise to me, and obviously like a huge moment in my career. But I think the U.S. men's national team was really something that kind of like cemented that I had a voice in something. Like I was a huge voice in our coverage, which is a little different than Champions League. In Champions League, there's voices that are way bigger than mine, but getting to be there when the men qualified, getting to do all of those interviews and be the first one there. I mean, I know both of you guys know that experience as being sideline reporters. And you were just covering the US too, but I don't know, that feeling like you're a part of the moment too. When people look back at the moment that they qualified for the World Cup, Jenny Chiu was your first, she interviewed me first. That's the moment that people get to keep. And I'm proud of that. I'm proud that I was the lead reporter for that.
Heck yeah. As you should be. And some of those interviews, I love those interviews because they were so in the moment. They just like raw emotion. What was your favorite post-match interview after they qualified? Because they were just like coming through. Like it was like yes, exactly. And I was like, she's crushing this right now. What were some of your favorite moments about that?
Oh gosh, I actually don't think it aired. There was one that didn't air, and it was with Walker Zimmerman, and that's someone that I had interviewed constantly because he was like a leader on the team. But I don't think it aired. But it was really, really great to talk about his progression on the team, going from someone that wasn't called up to getting called up, and now being a cemented part of the team that now people say, in the World Cup, he is my center defender. And he talked about how that process has been, and to remain faithful in the work that he does. And he gave a message to like little kids in the same position where they're getting the no. That doesn't mean that it's always going to be a no kind of situation. I don't think that aired, but that was powerful to me because that spoke to more people than just the players, if that makes sense. Like that speaks to everyone in our
interview,
life.
Jenny. Get that raw interview and put it out there. I feel like I need that today. I feel like I could use that from Walker Zimmerman today. All right. So we're talking about men playing for their national team. But Jenny, like we mentioned in your accolades at the top, you yourself have played for your national team at multiple youth levels. Can you, 2 World Cups, can you tell me what it's like? And I'm not using the word child in a like condescending way. I'm using the word child as like, holy crap. We're talking about Walker Zimmerman, who's an adult with a child of his own, representing his national team. What was it like as a child when you could be going to a birthday party on a weekend, instead traveling the world, playing in World Cups? Like, what was that one like? Like, did you realize like, oh my gosh, I'm here today. And the level of what you were representing?
I think yes and no. I think when you look back at things, you kind of get more of an idea of like how huge that was, and that you never really get that feeling again. Oh yeah. But in the moment, you do realize you're representing something bigger than you. Like I remember getting goosebumps every time the national anthem was playing for, before we had a game. But it's almost like the only thing, like you're talking about missing those birthday parties and all of these events. If that's all I knew in my childhood, I didn't know that I was missing out on other things. Like I thought that was normal. Now when I look back, I'm like, wow, how lucky was I that was what I went through. That was like the training that I went through. In the moment, you're just in the moment. But now I get to say for the rest of my life, like, yeah, I for 3 months trained in Mexico City and died. Did 3 trainings a day. Like, I talk about preseasons before the World Cup all the time now, and I'm like, how did I do that? I definitely couldn't do that now.
It's like rock star status.
It is rock star status. Jenny, what we're always curious, kind of like the origin story of our guests and how soccer came into your life. I know you are an El Paso, Texas native, but can you kind of share with us some of your earliest soccer memories, and at what point you thought, yeah, this is something I'm good at and something that I want to pursue?
Yeah, for me, I don't know if everyone's memory is like this, but I just have like big moments. Like a lot of time just goes by, but I have big moments. And one of the big moments was I played a lot of sports. I did swimming too, and I was crap at everything. But my dad made us do it just because he wanted to keep us out of drugs and he wanted to keep us busy. And he would just come and read his newspapers at our games, and never paid attention to the game. And I think one day he tells a story that he was just sitting in the back, like reading his newspaper in a chair while other parents are like standing up and cheering. And everyone's like continues to cheer like crazy. And he's like, what is going on? So he stands up and finally like watches the game and sees a girl like going down with the ball and like scores a goal. And he was just like in awe. And he was like, oh my gosh, who was that? And the guy like turns around and is like, that was your daughter. And so from that moment on, he started watching and was like, oh, she's actually like pretty good at this. Like, and we like had a serious conversation like a couple weeks later after he had like actually watched me play. And he was like, do you want to pursue this? Do you want, to put more effort in? Like, if you want, we can be all in. And at the time I didn't know what that meant. I was like, yeah, sure. Like, let's do it. And I had a personal trainer within a month. Like I was on a boys team, like within that year, like everything was like full throttle to like be the best I could be. I think it's a cool moment that like,
that's a great story.
Like,
that's like, I just watched the Giannis Antetokounmpo movie that's out on Disney, which by the way, like if you're not emotionally stable, don't watch that, but also watch that in that moment. It was so good, everybody. It's so cute. Just watch it. It's such a feel good. It's just so beautiful. But anyway, your dad's moment is like literally like could be a scene out of that movie with that family. So it'll be part of your movie or your book one day. Jenny, when you were, we just talked to Brianna Scurry about the same thing, that she always had to be on a boys team. So she mentioned being either the only Black person on a team or the only woman on a team. So when you realized, okay, I can play at this next level, so that to play at that level, it was, I have to go play on a boys team. Is that correct?
Yes.
So like, how did that go? Like, how were you just like, hey, I want to be on your team? And they're like, what qualifies you to be on our team? Like, how does that work? And how intimidating is that?
Honestly, I didn't want to do it. I hated every part of the idea, and I fought with my dad like every step of the way, but he was like, this is what you need to be better. Like, and my dad has always been the same way. And like, you have to be surrounded by people that are better than you in every aspect, or else you just like remain kind of stagnant. And he continues to feel that way. So like, if you're ever the best in any of your circles, like you should elevate. And he meant that. So when I was like clearly over the top better than all the girls, he was like, you have to reach the next level. And there was like a whole league meeting, because when I say I want to play, I go to practice with these boys teams, and I practice with my brother's teams and stuff. And there was no difference really, because at that point, like physically, we're kind of the same size. We're not, the men are not like too big yet at that point. So I'm practicing with them. There's no difference. I'm really good. People in the city knew that I was good. But then when I wanted to play actually in the league games, there had to be a league meeting. Like all of these people basically fought and said, no, because if she gets injured, the insurance, like blah, 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 like this is a bad thing. We cannot let her play. And I had coaches come in and vouch for me. And they were like, she is good enough. She is strong enough. She is like blah, 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 blah. So my dad fought with the league, and the coaches came in and said, we would take Jenny. Like, we're happy for her to play, whatever. So it was actually like a whole huge process that had a lot of pushback, because they didn't want a girl. And a lot of the players that I played against did not want to be schooled by a girl. Like I megged guys. I was doing the whole thing. Parents hated it because I was embarrassing their sons and such. But it was the decision that ultimately got me to UNC. Like Anson Dorrance is huge on girls playing with boys or playing with their brothers. Like that was a huge thing for him. And he asked, like, do you have brothers? I'm like, yeah, I have an older brother. I play on his teams. And he was like, I've always had good experiences with players who can play with, you know, men's teams, boys teams. Yeah, it breeds a different kind of player.
So you go to UNC, which is one of the, you know, elite programs in the country, and suddenly you're surrounded by a bunch of girls who are like you know, probably maybe had like those same experiences having to play with boys, but then suddenly it is this, you know, it's this unit of incredibly talented and gifted women all playing together. What was that experience like when you finally were like surrounded by women who were at your level, knowing that you guys were at the top of your game?
Yeah, I think we all kind of had similar experiences. So we're all still like best friends because we understand the sacrifices that we all made to get to where we got to. I would say that they were a lot of the players were significantly better than me. That was a shock because I had gone from like every female team to like I had played 4 years up, 5 years up, and I was always the best girl. That was just a reality. Going to UNC was a shock because these women were amazing. I mean, my freshman class, when I came in my freshman year, my senior class was Crystal Dunn, Kalia Ohai, goodness, like I think Satara Murray was a junior at the time. Like all these players that are outstanding. Like, first of all, Crystal Dunn is like the most amazing player I've ever played with, and I'm so grateful to say I ever played with her because she's unreal.
That is so cool.
And humbling. How humbling is it though? How humbling is it to walk into practice and she takes 11 players on by herself, and you're standing there like, oh, I don't belong here.
Oh, you certainly do.
But no, I mean, yeah, it's like finally meeting your pack.
So from UNC, and again, this is like the Giannis movie. I'm telling you, Jenny Chiu. If you haven't watched the Giannis movie, you're like, I've been seeing so much Jenny Chiu.
I don't see if I'm mentally stable enough yet, but maybe.
You know what? I should have said that.
It's been a rough few days.
I should have said that. I watched that this weekend, and honestly, like it was all like tears of joy watching that movie. So maybe I'm wrong. UNC, you go on, you play there. You major also in media and journalism. You started off your media path in Australia when you went on to play in Australia. Later moving to Portland, first in with the Timbers, Orlando City. We'll kind of get into that, but can you take us through your journey of, we talk to MLS players, professional athletes about this all the time, of when it became, I'm not going to pursue this professionally, this thing I've done my entire life, but I'm going to pursue it in this way, and like how you came to
that. In terms of getting into media?
Yeah, and just like hanging up the boots, for lack of a better word, of I've only been this and I'm not going to pursue it as my job right now.
Right. Well, I think it's different for women because there's not really, unless you're like the cream of the crop, which I just realistically was not, you're not really making enough money to sustain yourself. And I was very aware of that. And, you know, the options for me at the moment when I kind of decided was, do I want to continue to play overseas? I'm not going to play in the NWSL. Like, do I want to continue to play overseas somewhere every year, find something else and make pennies? I have a back injury that still gets flared up intensely. When I was in Australia, I realized that as well. Like I flared up like crazy. I'm going to struggle with my back injury, or do I find a real job and like just let this go? And it was tough because I didn't know. I didn't know what the right answer was. And I think more than anything, my brother kind of steered me in like a, come on, dude, like this is the real world. We got to make some money. Like you can't live off me forever. And I started to apply to internships. It was hard. That loss of identity is so freaking real. Oh my gosh. I mean, and we all hit it at some point. The thing is, like, whether you stop playing sports in high school, whether you stop playing sports in college or after the pro league, like everybody's going to hit that moment of like, this is all I've been. And then now what? And yeah, it's very real. I had it after UNC. I had it during UNC too, like kind of realizing like I'm not as good as I thought I was. Like I'm not going to get to the moment or the things that I thought I was going to get to one day. And then you readjust. You like, you know, we all find our way. You guys have all had your moments, and I'd love to hear about them. You just readjust. I guess my moment was I still want to be around the game, and that's gonna have to be good enough for me. What were you guys' moments?
Oh gosh. I was all over the map. I literally like didn't know what I wanted to do. I went to grad school for musical theater. Like I thought I wanted to be a singer and a dancer.
Which you are.
Oh my gosh. I
You
didn't know
are a
that.
singer and a dancer.
Yes. And I quickly learned that like, and I got my master's in musical theater and I burned out within a year and I was so lost. But I had studied broadcast journalism in college. And so I was kind of like, do I like make my way back into this? Like, what do I do? So, and I had been an athlete. We're a huge sporting family. And I started out in PR and then kind of like gradually like got my foot in the door at a few places. And that's kind of how it happened for me. But I was a little lost soul.
We all are,
As
right?
we all are. We all are. Jill,
Yeah.
we all are.
Yeah, like even
Big
like
time.
maybe like 3 weeks ago, I had a day where I felt like I was lost, and you'd look
Like,
in,
what
and
am I
I'm
doing?
doing everything I want to do.
What am I doing?
I'm doing sideline. I'm hosting. I'm covering the national team. I'm covering MLS. I'm covering an elite club. Like I'm doing everything I want to do. That's the crazy part. But my long story short would just be like, I grew up watching the news and all sports with my dad, and I loved it. Like I loved hearing like 40% of the time this happens, and I loved watching it and then seeing if it would happen the next week. And I knew I wanted to be a reporter and a host, and I knew I wanted to work in sports. But like you, Jenny, you mentioned, quote, getting a real job. I didn't think that this would ever be a real job. So I got a degree in international relations and communications because I was like, if I go to school for 4 years and I just leave with a friggin' communications degree and I don't do anything, like I will have wasted all of my money at this state school. And I just pounded the pavement, had zigzags, highs, lows, lots of lows, and then lots of highs, and then here we are today. And I just hope I do it again. I hope I do it again tomorrow.
It's a constant evolution, it is though. I mean, in this industry, I think we all are very privy to the fact that it is a volatile industry and nothing is guaranteed. And, you kind of always have to be grinding a little bit. And I think like it's important that we're always learning, like we're always trying to be better. We're always looking for new challenges. And I think that's what's really cool is that like
True,
as the media landscape like expands and there's way more space for women than there were when I started in the industry. I think it's cool to have these opportunities to kind of like maybe reinvent yourself a little bit. And Jenny, it's been so cool to watch you because like I remember being in the MLS studios and like we would do these segments with Orlando City. And it was
my
like,
gosh,
like,
I forgot about that.
It was like Jenny Chiu. And then, to
get it out of the vault.
Well, no, it was incredible. But it was incredible.
Oh, no.
It was incredible to watch you grow. And Jill and I, we share battle stories all the time about like our early days and like being so green and like just like things that like make me want to like I think about memories and I just want to
so cringy. So cringy.
When you were first starting, when you were first like putting yourself out there and getting yourself in front of a camera, like, okay, we're really doing it. What was a moment where it was like a real learning moment for you? Because I have about a million, but was there one that you can share where you were like, okay, yeah, this is what I'm going to do moving forward?
Well, okay, I'm going to take your question and kind of change it. I had that moment every broadcast where I was like, oh my God, I'm disgustingly horrible. I was so obsessed with improving that like every time after an Orlando City game, I would go immediately home to rewatch my tape and pick out exactly what I did wrong, how I could like immediately. And everyone was like, come to the bar, have a drink, come this. And I'm like, nope, gotta go study. It's like, I just had a full day of work and a broadcast. And now I have to go home and criticize myself and hate myself for like 2 hours. And then I can go to sleep and whatever it is. So I definitely had many of those moments, but one of the moments that stick out to me is like oh my God, okay, I can do this, which was like monumental for me, was that one video went viral when I had a English-Spanish bilingual interview. Yes. Something that I did not know I could do. Like I fought back with my bosses at the time. Like, no, I don't know how to do that. I can't do that. I'm bilingual. But to ask me to translate live is a whole nother animal.
My goodness.
That's a whole nother animal. I didn't know I could do it. And then the producer asked me, like, last second. It wasn't a planned interview at all. He said, hey, he was the MVP of the game. Like, you got to interview him. And instead of fighting back, which normally my initial reaction would be, oh no, I'm not ready. I'm not good enough. And like, I would freeze up and, feel this like anxiety. I was like, okay, didn't even think about it. Went up, did it.
Sometimes.
Mhm.
Oh, the most amazing feeling to not like have even time to doubt yourself.
Yeah.
So then I did it and I watched it back. And every time I watched it, I think maybe watched it back 100 times. I'm like, how the hell did I do that? And it's just a matter of like taking away that doubt, to like remove the doubt, and like you're capable of way more than you think you are. And
100.
after that, I've had like so many moments of that after.
That's
where I'm
such
like,
good advice. Like the ability to surprise yourself, I think is such an important quality to recognize,
Yes.
and I'm so glad that you recognize that moment for yourself. Because it was incredible. It was an incredible moment.
But like, it was automatic. Like, I don't think I was really thinking. It was like automatic. And to realize I could do that, we can surprise ourselves. You guys got to tell me a moment you surprised yourselves.
Oh no. But this is about you, Jenny. We talk enough. We talk every week. The fans hear us. But one thing I will say, she'll think of one.
Oh God.
She'll think of one. One thing I will say, that you make that point about going home and rewatching things. I still do that. And I do think it makes you better, because as much as I don't think I killed something, which actually doesn't happen that much, but as much as I'll be like, you know what? That was okay. That went okay. I go back and I watch and I find something that I need to do better next time. But what I will add in there is I think something that's underrated, and maybe because a lot of people at times can just live on social media instead of living in the world that our feet hit the ground of, is those moments. And I'm sure you've seen this now as you evolve, those moments of going like to the bar or to get a burger after the game. They're so therapeutic, because like me and Mo Adu and Kevin Egan after our Atlanta United game on Saturday night, it was a trying day, right? But going out with them after like solidifies our relationship, and our next pregame show is better off of those moments that you have. And I think that sometimes people just want to go home and be on their phones, this and that. And I will be so honest here. After those bar moments, I go home and I agonize over the crap on my phone. Then I'm up till 3 a.m. watching it. But I think that as you get comfortable, you've been part of so many broadcast teams. I'm sure you know how important like those moments are now too, of like, these are like your relationship is only as good as your actual relationship on the air. People can see through that.
Right. Yeah, no, I think I've definitely come a long way from Orlando City.
It has to come.
I don't come straight home and do that anymore.
Good.
Because it was incredibly unhealthy. It was incredibly unhealthy and toxic, and we have to be kinder to ourselves and give ourselves a second. Like, now I'm like, okay, you know what? You weren't great, but that's okay. You were better than you were last year. Like, okay.
And that's all you can hope for. And it's not always like this, right? It's sometimes like,
oh, for sure.
This.
Oh yeah, it's all over the map.
You have your moment. Do you have your moment?
No, I actually do. You'll appreciate this, Jenny, because Pete Radovich is the guy who gave me my start in the industry.
What?
As working as a correspondent for Inside the NFL. That was my first like foray into professional
Holy
sports.
Circle. Okay.
And my audition basically was, Susannah, go to an MMA match, like mixed martial arts, and it was called Strike Force. It doesn't exist anymore. It was like there was Strike Force and UFC. I went to a Strike Force match. I knew nothing about this sport, but I had to go and interview fighters and like educate myself on this sport. And I did it. And I don't remember anything. Like, I think I blacked out because I was so like nervous and but I did it. And I remember one of the guys had gotten cut right above his eye. And in the middle of our interview, it opened up and just blood started like gushing down his face. And I was like, I might pass out.
Did you get blood on you?
No, but I thought I was going to get a little wheezy. But I got through it, and then they gave me the job. Like, so it was like it was just one of those where it was like sink or swim. It was like put yourself in there. And so it's similar where it was just like you do surprise the ability to surprise yourself is huge.
It's
and I
so
definitely
true.
surprised myself in that moment.
That's such a good one.
Can we just take a second? Pete Radovich gave you your start?
Yes.
And 100%. He gave me my start on
I know. See the synergy?
Sounds like a good club. A good club to be part of.
He's got great taste. That's all I can say.
He has
great
a
taste.
vision.
Good eye.
Oh, great eye. I mean, you know what? Congratulations, because the word on the street is if he thinks you're talented, you're talented. So
Well, listen, I'll take it. I'll take that feather in my
We
Well,
cap
did
then
it.
I
any
am
day,
sitting
as should
here
you.
with two very talented ladies. No, and I mean that, and you are. I think if I had to guess, I think that I worked 7 years covering all New York professional sports, reporting or anchoring, Knicks, Rangers, Yankees. I mean, that's as cutthroat as it can get. And I started as an intern in the space and worked my way up to on air. And then I got the Atlanta United job. And it was, hey, you're going to host a 30-minute pre and post game show in the stadium, 70,000 people. Like, go for it. And I'm like, okay, I've anchored sports segment, sports show, 30 minutes. Okay, fine. And then I think as we talked to the producer, they're like, I quickly see that, like, there's no teleprompter, there's no research, there's no notes. And I had been used to that working at News 12. I was used to me providing the notes in this, but someone looking over my shoulder and being like, yeah, right, wrong. This was 30 minutes flying. And you want to talk about the vault. I would love to see that 30-minute pregame show. But I think that I impressed myself where after a few, I was like, the most important thing is you know what you're talking about. So if I have to talk about this MLS team or soccer or possession for the next 30 minutes and I got to tee up these two guys, and even if they give me a 10-second answer or a 15-minute answer, I can keep this show going. And I don't need that teleprompter, and I don't need that help. Like, I can run this show. And that felt good. But that I think was the most scared I ever was.
It's empowering though. It's so like, yeah, like heck yeah, we can do this. Jenny, one of the things that I admire so much about you, among so many things, is that you've been so open about, like, you know, anxiety, the anxiety that you deal with, and mental health, and just really putting it out there and allowing for an open space for people to, you know, talk about it and have conversations about it. And I think as people in the media, as people who are forward facing, I know that I mean, I've been in this industry like over 10 years and I still have the, you know, like, it's not something that like just goes away. You get better at dealing with it, but it still exists. For you, how do you, when you kind of find yourself, when you find yourself in those moments of like the anxiety kind of building up and maybe the heart rate starts to go, what do you do? Like, what would you tell somebody who's young and getting in the industry? How do you combat that? How do you get yourself back to neutral?
Well, it's gonna sound ridiculous, and I've said this before, and people like laugh at me, but you didn't die last time. Like,
Yeah.
like genuinely, like,
Great advice.
in that moment, the anxiety makes you feel like you're gonna die, and like you're going to say something on air that's going to get you blackballed from the industry for the rest of your life, and you're catastrophizing like every possible horrible thing that could happen, and it's not going to happen. And I think that just remembering, like, last time that didn't happen, the time before that didn't happen. Hey, remember when you thought that was going to happen? That one, it didn't happen. And genuinely, I had one moment when I was on air for Orlando City where I completely blacked out. Like, I have no idea what I said. I have no idea what I said. And like I then said, like, I'm so sorry, I blacked out. And they were like, oh, it was fine. And completely nothing came to my head. Like, nothing was working. And if it was fine and nobody noticed, like, I'm okay.
Yeah.
Like, we make it so much bigger in our head.
We do. That's such good advice.
Thank you, Jenny Chiu, so very much. Is there anything we missed that we didn't touch on today? That
I want to know what you're like, what's next for you? Like, what else do you, like, you have covered like the highest level of soccer. Like, what are your hopes and dreams, Jenny Chiu? Like, what's on the vision board? That's what I want to know. Because I feel like you will manifest this into reality.
Manifesting is real, 100%.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I do want to promote our coverage of the W Championship, which is in Monterey. I will be lead reporter, so I'll be on the ground the whole time, and we'll have an amazing team in studio. They'll also come to Monterey towards the end for the semifinals and the finals. But it's Poppy Miller, Brianna Scurry, Kaylin Kyle, Allie Wagner, Lisa Byington, and others. Like, it's just going to be full women's strength. I mean, all these women are amazing players, commentators, and I'm so excited.
Sounds like
to
a
be
group
in
I just want to eat dinner with.
I know. I kind of just want to hang out.
100%. It starts July 4th, so I leave tomorrow to Monterey, and I'm excited. Beyond that, I don't really know. Like, I know we should manifest, but I'm doing the best I can with the cards I've been handed, as we all are. Getting more control of my mental health every day. I don't know, trying to live kindly, improving every day. I don't
Amen.
know.
I also think there's so much value in being in the moment and the amazing moments that we are all so lucky. I mean, this is work, right? If this is as bad as it gets, like this is our jobs. If that's as bad as it gets and as trying as it gets, like we're very blessed. So I think that also there's a lot of value in like
Well said.
not looking too far ahead and being like, I'm really lucky right now. And this is
Well, we have a World Cup in 2026. I better be a part of that in some capacity.
Okay. That's
There
a
we
great
go.
manifestation. I think that's a great way to end this interview. 2026 World Cup, Jenny Chiu, here she comes.
What's up, everybody? It is Susannah Collins and Jillian Susannah, co-hosts of The Call Up. And if you want more Call Up action, hit like and subscribe right here on YouTube, right there.
And also make sure that you download every episode of The Call Up every single Tuesday at 5 o'clock Eastern Time or anywhere that you get your podcasts. And while you're here, why not check out some of these other videos as well?